Call the December 19th, 2022 Board of Adjustment meeting to order. My name is Michael Carson, Acting Chairperson of the Board of Adjustment. The Board of Adjustment is an impartial body made up of residents of the town of Prescott Valley who volunteer their time and efforts and are guided by the state and local rules and regulations. This evening's proceedings will be conducted using the following format. First, I will read the item into the record. Following the identification of the hearing item, staff will present the case and their recommendations to the board, after which questions from the Board of Adjustment will be directed to staff regarding the case. It is at this point that I will open the floor to general comments from the public regarding the case before the board. I ask that you direct your pertinent comments to the board through the chairperson and not to the staff nor individuals within the audience. I would also appreciate your cooperation in making your statements brief and to the point, as I may exercise the prerogative to confine public comment if need be, should there be considerable public involvement in the case. There are two action items this evening on the current agenda. We have a variance V22001 and the election of officers, which I believe we're going to put off till the next meeting, if that's okay with everybody.
Yes.
I'm in agreement with that.
I would agree.
I would like to note for the record any and all town employees who are present: Fernando Gonzalez, Development Services Director; Pat Ruiz, Code Enforcement Supervisor; Carmela David, Administrative Report; Stephen, I'm sorry, I can't get your name straight.
It's Zrake.
Zrake, just like it's spelled, yeah. Okay, Stephen Zrake, Deputy Town Attorney; Jessica Berrigan, Planner. Clerk, please call the roll.
Member Shimon?
Here.
Member Kunish?
Here.
Member Carson?
Here.
Acting Chairperson Van Boning.
Since we do not have a full board present at tonight's meeting, pursuant to Article 13-29-060, you have the right to request that your item be deferred to a future meeting date when a full 5-member board is present. We do have a quorum, however. Board approval or denial requires a majority vote. The motion will not pass if there are less than a majority affirmative votes. Please make this request known before we hear your application. Do you wish to proceed?
Yes.
If the board has reviewed the minutes from the November 28, 2022 meeting, I ask if there are any corrections to the minutes.
None.
No.
Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I move to approve the minutes as written.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Do we require a roll call vote on
Yes.
that? Clerk, please call the roll.
Member Carson?
Yes,
Member Kunish?
Yes.
Member Shimon?
Yes.
the minutes are approved as written. Are there any announcements from staff or board members at this point?
There is, thank you. Acting Chair and members, I'd like to take this opportunity to present this to Linda Schumann for all her dedicated work as chair for the number of years with the town of Prescott Valley. We really appreciate you guiding us throughout the years that you've been chair, and we appreciate very much, even though you're not acting chair, you're with us to help us through these times as a member. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
We'll move along to the action items. The item on the agenda that we'll be considering tonight is V22-001. Upon application of Mr. William R. Doherty, owner, a request for a variance to exceed the maximum encroachment allowed into the front yard setback as described per section 13-20-010.d of the Town of Prescott Valley zoning ordinance. Subject property is located at 4446 North Plainsman Way, Prescott Valley, Unit 20, Lot 747, APN number 402-21-747. Mr. Ruiz?
Thank you, Board. What we have before you is the case for a variance to allow the applicant to extend past that first 25-foot front yard setback due to their easement that was discovered that wasn't recorded properly initially. The subject property is located in a R1L10 residential zoning district. One of the purposes of the density district is to regulate the minimum setbacks required for single-family homes. The subject property has a density district of 10, which requires minimum front yard setback to be 25 feet. The property owner intends to build a single-family residence on the property. Upon civil engineer review of the plans, it was discovered that the sewer easement was supposed to be 15 feet. However, it was recorded at 10 feet. The town was unaware of this oversight. The applicant Sorry about that. The applicant is now forced to move his home over 5 feet to accommodate for that extra 5-foot easement required by the town, causing the structure to encroach to 6 feet in the front yard setback. The property owner purchased the property with the intent to build a home. Upon purchase, it was unknown that the sewer easement was not recorded correctly. After the home plans were drawn up, it was determined that the sewer easement was not correct. The property owner spoke with the civil engineer, title company, and town staff to determine if there was an oversight on the length of the sewer easement. None had knowledge of the easement discrepancy. Town Code Section 1329-040-12 states, the Board of Adjustments may not grant a variance if special circumstances applicable to the property are self-imposed by the property owner. The circumstances in this case are not self-imposed. Staff recommends the board approval of V 22-001 under the following condition. The encroachment be no more than 6 feet in the front yard setback at the wall of the structure. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open the item to questions or comments from the board or staff.
I have no questions.
I also have no questions.
Nor do I.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ruiz. Mr. O'Leary, would you care to address the board?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, my name is Bill O'Leary, and I'm the attorney for Bill Doherty. He had a fall last week and broke his hip, so he wasn't able to make it, and so it asked me to step in for him. As Mr. Ruiz indicated, the sewer easement, apparently what Mr. Doherty discovered, in researching this issue is when this was being constructed, 20 or plus years ago, by the town, there was a construction easement that was supposed to be in place that allowed for access during the construction, and one was 10 foot, and then the permanent easement was supposed to be 15. Well, for this particular property, when it got recorded by the town and the developers back then, they got reversed. And so the recorded easement was 10, and then the construction ended up being the actual sewer line is outside of the 10-foot easement. And so when they figured this out, then in between, discussions with town staff and, Mr. Doherty and his engineer, the town asked, hey, would you allow us to expand the recorded easement to 15 feet? Mr. Doherty says yes, but by doing so, then the placement of the house then gets crunched because as you can see on the picture, this lot narrows. It's an odd-shaped lot towards the street. And so if they shift it over a little bit, then that puts the house into the 25-foot setback. And so the request is for the variance for that 6 feet. to allow the house to encroach 6 foot into the 25-foot front setback. Aesthetically, too, though, for the neighborhood, that actually will help it appear that all the houses then are the same, again, because of this odd configuration there. And I think what they figured out, too, is originally there was supposed to be a cul-de-sac here, and then it didn't get built that way or developed the way the street is. And so if the house is moved, as they're proposing, then the whole street, at least around that area, would appear more uniform, as opposed to having one house way back and another one way forward. So it would, be a benefit there to the neighborhood itself. As Mr. Ruiz indicated, obviously it's not self-imposed. Mr. Doherty had nothing to do with the original development of it. And there's a terrain issue, too. The front is higher, and then you have the slope going back. And so, the engineer was able to, figure out if we shift it just a little bit, then we have, the 6 foot, need for the variance. And so that's what he's asking, the variance from the board, to approve tonight.
Very good. Thank you.
Any questions? I mean, that's the scope that I know. I mean, I can, try to dive in a little bit more.
And looking at the contour lines, it also looks like the lot is pretty steep going back. Is that correct?
Exactly. Right. It apparently, flows pretty hard to the back. And part of that, too, I'm glad you asked that question, because the other thing that Mr. Doherty, and it's not part of the variance, but just, for your information consideration, there's this drainage that somehow ran right through the property that nobody really knows who put it there, how it got put there. And so as part of it, too, Mr. Doherty is going to, relocate the town drainage coming off the street to then flow to the back. And then, the accommodation for that as well, he's making to get this lot developed. That's probably why it sat vacant for so long at this corner, because it has these challenges. And so, that would help, the whole configuration, with the slope in mind, the drainage. There's this manhole cover in the back, too, that he has to, keep open so the town can get to the manhole for where the drainage is as well. And that's part of the other accommodation that he's working with the town, so that they would have access when or if the need arises to get to his backyard where this manhole cover is. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
I have no questions.
Nor do I.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open the item to public comment. Any public comment? Any questions or comments from the board?
I have nothing for discussion.
I have nothing as well.
Very good. If there are no further questions or comments from the board, I will accept a motion to approve or deny.
I move to approve V22001 with the following condition, that the encroachment be no more than 6 feet into the front yard setback at the wall of the structure.
I will second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that the variance be approved. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Member Carson?
Yes.
Member Kunish?
Yes.
Member Shimon?
Yes.
The application for the variance is approved. The item on the agenda to have the election of officers this evening, I think, will be postponed until the next regular meeting in the month of January. At this point, we'll allow the public, anyone in the audience that would like to address the board, stating your name and address. Any takers? Being no further business before the board, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Member Carson?
Yes,
Member Kunish?
Yes.
Member Shimon?
Yes.
we are adjourned.